These are some stories that are pretty scary out there. Some may be true, while others may just be made up. It all depends on where you heard it from. However, we like to keep it real here. Today we will look at some of these shocking true stories that are guaranteed to keep you awake all night. So go ahead and switch off your lights and listen to these stories. The mailman. I remember when I was around 10 or 11 years old. On this particular day, I was homesick from school. Around the afternoon, I was lying on the couch watching TV when the doorbell rang. It was the mailman. However, he told me that we had gotten a package, but it was pretty big to carry all by himself. Even though I was still young, I could immediately tell something was wrong. Since I could not see his truck parked out front, I asked him where it was. He kept telling me that it was around the corner. I then asked him why it was that the regular mailman, who always brought lollipops, was not there. This mailman said that he was visiting his family. He insisted that I open the front door, but I politely told him I was not feeling well and was not allowed to leave the house. When he insisted too much, I told him we would pick up the package from the post office. He then told me what a hassle that would be, and how my mom would want me to do her this favor. Realizing he would not let me go, I told him I would come outside, but I had to grab my shoes from upstairs first. I closed the front door and locked it. I ran through the house, locked the back door, and called my neighbor who worked from home. She was a close family friend, and I called her up, screaming that she had to come over right now. I then stood at the locked front door and stared at the man through the window in the door. He saw me staring and yelled through the door, asking if I had found my shoes. I told him I called my neighbor to help carry it because she's older and stronger. Upon hearing this, he just turned around and ran. He was never caught. Come home with me. I was around 13 years old and we stopped at a gift shop so my family could go to the bathroom. As I was standing there, I heard this noise behind me. It was an old guy who, I kid you not, looked precisely like Charles Manson's swastika. He had a forehead tattoo, crazy eyes, long, scraggly hair, and a beard, among other features. He was looking straight at me, playing with this noisemaker thing for sale. He then walked closer and said, "Would you like anything? I will buy you anything you like. Just come with me." I smiled nervously and walked away, but he followed me and told me he'd like to take me home. I immediately walked away. The guy was about to follow me when my mom came out of the bathroom. When he spotted her, he bolted. To this day, I have never told my parents about this. Maybe he was just a nice old man, but after thinking about for a while, I concluded that nice old men do not try to bribe young girls into coming home with them. Grab the gun. I live in Eastern Oregon, and my mom lives in Western Oregon. I remember one summer when I went to visit her. My mom was always outdoorsy, so we took the 1-hour drive from her city to the coast. We ended up at this free campsite at the top of the hill. It was in the vast foothills of the coastal mountains, about a 25-minute drive from the top, where the campsite is. Furthermore, we were the only campers there. We relaxed for the rest of the day, made food, and basically spent some time together. As we were having our own fun, a truck full of men drove up the hill, and they started talking with my mom. I don't know what they were talking about, but I was not suspicious then. After a while of chit-chatting with my mom, they left us there. Fast forward to the middle of the night. I remember when I woke up and found my mom sitting straight up in the tent. I woke up quickly, but when she gasped, I woke up fully. As soon as she noticed I had woken up, she immediately put her hand over my mouth because I had already started asking what was wrong. It was dead silent, and all that could be heard were footsteps right beside our tent. The little flap that covers the zipper was even moving. Thankfully, my mom was quick to react. Out of nowhere, she shouted, "Kenny, grab the gun." Kenny's my dad, but he was not there. Remember, we were just girls out here camping. When the guys heard this, they immediately left and no harm was done. I don't even want to think of what would have happened if my mom had not come up with that idea. Knock, knock. I remember when I was in high school, my friends and I would mess around with the Ouija board one night. We had done it before, but nothing exciting happened. We sometimes did it to try and scare each other or our girlfriends. We all thought it was a joke, but that changed on one particular night. That night, no one else was home apart from the 7 of us, and we were all together around the board. One of the girls wanted to try it since she had never done it before. This time, it was different. The board misspelled some of the words the same way every time. It would sometimes give answers that seemed really historically accurate for our town. Some of them we neither knew nor cared about. Long story short, the spirit present claimed that it was a 10-year-old boy who had died on the property in the 1800s and was buried there to an unmarked grave. The house we were in was on a farm on the edge of town. We were all a little freaked out since this was the first time the board was so detailed and consistent. However, we were still skeptical and assumed that one of us was trying to scare the rest. To kill our doubts, my friend asked the spirit if it could do something to prove that he was really there. It went to yes and then spelled out K-N-O-C-K. Soon after, the planchet stopped moving. We all stared at it silently, and in the middle of the dead silence, we heard a rap, rap, rap on the window right next to us. The lights were on outside, but there was absolutely no one there. That was the last time we touched that board. Just checking. I am currently living in a haunted house. I have heard voices, footsteps, and lights being turned on and off, and one of the ghosts living here has a thing for silverware. Sometimes I hear it clattering in the drawer all the time, and sometimes a knife or two will end up in the wrong slot in the drawer. However, the strangest and scariest experience I had was the very first night I spent in the house. I was still moving in and there were boxes everywhere. I hadn't even put up my mattress. I was lying on an old futon mattress watching a video on my phone when I had the weirdest feeling ever. I had a pins and needles feeling in my feet as they fell asleep. However, this was not on my feet, but rather on the top of my head. This feeling came in the shape of a hand. I said goodnight, turned off my light, and tried to fall asleep. When I woke up the following day, my closet door was wide open. But other than that, everything else was untouched. I'm assuming whoever my unseen roommate is, they were just checking out who I was on the first night. Have you had any shocking experiences or heard any spooky stories? Feel free to let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.